The theme of this year's address, responsiveness and resilience to the COVID-19 pandemic, is one that is echoed throughout every organization across our country. This has been a very difficult year for our community, our businesses, schools, employees, employers, families, and service organizations, as we have had to pull together to respond to the challenging realities, executive orders, and needs of the community. I want to thank the people and organizations that have partnered with us this year. Our elected officials, U.S. Representative Angie Craig, State Senator Carla Begum, and Representative Tony Jurgens, and our Dakota County commissioners, including Commissioner Mike Slavic, whose term as chair of the board just ended. Thank you for your service and support for our community. I thank our city council members, including outgoing Councilmember Joe Balsonic, who served our city for 12 years representing Ward 2. He was a part of many projects throughout the community, and we sincerely thank you, Joe. Our 2021 council members include Mark Vaughn and Lori Brox, who serve at large, Councilmember Tina Fulch, who serves Ward 1, Councilmember Jen Fox, who serves Ward 2, Councilmember Lisa Leifelt, who serves Ward 3, and Councilmember Trevor Lund, who serves Ward 4. You have led and continue to lead in ensuring our community gets what it needs in these difficult times. Thank you to our community partners, Dakota County, the Hastings Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, the Ministerial Association, the Downtown Business Association, Hastings Economic Development and Redevelopment Authority, which is HEDRA, Hastings Family Services, Hastings YMCA, the United Way, Independent School District 200, and many more for working with us in support of our community. Last but not least, thank you to our staff. Every department in this city re-engineered and reimagined the way it provided its services to the Hastings community. And this was an election year. You are all to be commended for your service. Despite the incredible difficulties this year, there were and continue to be several bright spots. Families decorated their doors and garages with hearts. Storefronts were filled with positive messages and sidewalks decorated with chalk art. School buses delivered lunches to kids at home. Restaurants got creative with takeout menus. Many of our businesses and organizations pulled together on food and donation drives. Our staff innovated to develop online park programming, like a pet photo contest, online Halloween costumes, and virtual resources to get our community engaged. Our firefighters brought fire safety to elementary schools outdoors. We looked for creative ways to share important messages by partnering with the Chamber of Commerce with an advertising campaign with a masked raider to encourage safe shopping. And we engaged with the United Way to get the word out about funds for nonprofit organizations that were impacted by COVID. In 2020, we held our first holiday Lights Tour and Lights Parade and continued to shine bright in 2021 with a light display in our area. Many of you participated in these events that brought our community together. I choose to look at the good I've seen throughout the community. Bravo, Hastings. Give yourself a pat on the back for stepping up to help those in need. It makes me grateful and thankful. Now our City Administrator, Dan Waticha, will talk about the 2020 highlights and plans for 2021.
Hi, I'm Dan Waticha, Hastings City Administrator. I started in this position a little over a year ago, and although this has not been what I expected in my first year due to the pandemic, much of it has been very good. I have been awed by our city staff and their efforts this year. They had to figure out new ways to approach their work, to adapt, and to adapt yet again. They showed creativity and an I can do that approach that never failed. You will hear several examples during this State of the City. I am proud of our people and their service every day. About this time a year ago, we were discussing the city's continuity of operations plan. There was some attention to remote work and to community partners, but really the focus was on what and how do we continue critical operations if significant numbers of our employees were sick and unable to work. Fortunately, we have had only a handful of employees quarantined due to exposure or illness. The reality of working in a pandemic has been different, but through a combination of social distancing, PPE, and remote work, we've hardly missed a beat. We improvised a drop box for construction applications to the building department, moved city council and other meetings to Zoom, had employees driving in separate vehicles, created virtual recreation programming, upgraded the city website to be more user-friendly, added plexiglass at the front counter and between cubicles, and spread out when we were in person. A significant amount of time was also devoted to administering election duties and to ensuring city residents could vote in a safe and timely manner. COVID-19 injected a great deal of uncertainty into city finances. We instituted a hiring freeze over the summer, and we clamped down on spending in 2020. When budgeting for 2021, the city adopted a hold the line budget, focusing on maintaining existing service levels. This was the 5th consecutive year of reduced or steady property tax rates. The 2021 budget also prioritizes capital projects, considering factors such as public safety, critical to operations, asset preservation, and multi-year sequencing. Besides the prioritization, we are matching the projects to when money is available throughout the year. The other major financial adjustment this year involved CARES funding. In July, Hastings received about $1.7 million through the Federal CARES Act for responding to the COVID-19 public health emergency. From the start, the City Council emphasized 2 approaches for utilizing CARES funds: covering eligible expenses incurred by the city and providing economic support for the community. City expenses totaled about $1 million and included laptops and telework capabilities, PPE, plexiglass barriers, touchless fixtures in public restrooms, audiovisual equipment to enable remote and webinar-based training for the fire EMS department, a transport ventilator for the ambulances, disinfectant equipment for the arena, and wages, particularly for public safety. Business assistance totaled about $740,000 and covered a variety of grants and other support, which Community Development Director John Hensman will discuss a little later. All of the changes in operations that I've outlined were made possible due to our team leadership. During the first couple months, our staff meetings were daily, and I want to thank my team, along with Julie Flatten, Director of Administrative Services, for her unwavering commitment and support throughout this past year. Julie oversees elections, finance, human resources, communications, and IT, all areas that navigated significant change this year due to the pandemic. Thank you, Julie. Looking ahead, we are ambitious about 2021. John will tell you about several residential developments coming online. Public Works Director Nick Egger will tell you about Highway 316, 15th Street, and other street and utility construction. We received state funding for rehabilitation of the dome at City Hall. In the vitally important area of equity and inclusion, the city has joined GARE, the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, and we continue our support for community conversations with Thrive. Our 2040 Comprehensive Plan was formally adopted in December, and I expect very soon the City Council and senior staff will work on strategic planning for both the immediate and long term. I am excited to be here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Community Development Director John Hinsman. Assisting our local businesses with the operational challenges of COVID-19 was our top priority in 2020. In the spring, the Hastings Economic Development and Redevelopment Authority, HEDRA, provided $185,000 in funding to over 60 businesses. In the fall, another $250,000 was provided to 25 businesses. Local nonprofit organizations received an additional $250,000 as well. Outstanding HEDRA loan payments were deferred for the entire year, resulting in a savings of $40,000 to local businesses. HEDRA worked closely with the Hastings Downtown Business Association and Hastings Area Chamber of Commerce to install barricades to allow expanded outdoor restaurant seating and for the closure of 2nd Street during the weekends. Despite the challenges of COVID, 4 new restaurants are currently renovating space and plan openings in 2021. The city approved a number of new residential housing developments that will add 300 new housing units in Hastings. Heritage Ridge is under construction west of General Sieben Drive and will add 116 single-family and villa homes. Located near Northridge and Pleasant Drives, Villas at Pleasant will add another 32 homes marketed towards seniors and empty nesters. 2 new senior housing developments were also approved. Real Estate Equities was granted full approval of a 90-unit affordable independent facility at Schoolhouse Square, a 75-unit building providing independent living, assisted living, and memory care units was approved along County Road 47 for Headwaters development. The rehabilitation of the former Hudson Manufacturing Building continues. The Confluence will contain a hotel, apartments, banquet space, and a restaurant. 2021 should be a busy construction year for new housing.
Hello, I'm Brian Schaefer, Chief of Police for the City of Hastings. 2020 was a challenging year for all. Our police officers were faced with adversity like never before with the onset of COVID-19 and civil unrest. Our staff adapted admirably with little interruption in service to our citizens. Within a few days of the governor's stay-at-home order, record staff, investigators, and command staff were working from home. This was not an easy task as we worked tirelessly with city IT staff to make this possible. However, not all work could be done from home. Our brave men and women in uniform came to work every day, sanitizing, social distancing, and utilizing personal protective equipment to a level not seen. They were forced to change their patrol and emergency response protocol. Instead of face-to-face interactions with residents, business was done over the phone. We reduced proactive patrols to minimize the risk of exposure, instead focusing on both open and closed businesses and priority 911 calls. Our citizen online reporting feature was utilized more than ever, enabling residents to file a report online instead of calling 911 or having an officer respond. We continue to balance executive orders with the needs and desires to stay in touch with our community. By participating in birthday parades, the Hastings High School Teacher Appreciation, high school graduation, and the city's Holiday Light Parade with our decorated mobile command vehicle, we did our best to show our support. COVID-related calls remain manageable, holding our mission of educating and warning where executive orders were in question, and citing only when necessary. Despite the obstacles faced, our daily work, training, hiring, and retirements didn't cease. Officers still responded to 23,000 calls for service, participated in over 1,600 hours of training, processed 3,300 cases, and welcomed new body-worn camera technology that aligns with our partner agencies. We saw 2 senior members retire, hired 5 new officers, promoted 2 sergeants, acquired our K-9 Sunny, appointed a new school resource officer, and created the community engagement officer position funded through a federal COPS grant. We even donated $1,000 to the American Cancer Society through money raised in the Pink Patch program. Recognizing the great work and sacrifices in 2020, we conducted a series of award and swearing-in ceremonies delayed because of COVID. Between November and December, 41 Special Award of Merits, 6 Award of Merits, 19 Life-Saving Awards, 3 Chiefs Award of Excellence, and 2 Letters of Recognition were presented. What's in store for 2021? We are preparing for the possibility of civil unrest in targeted areas post-inauguration and for the trials of the officers in the death of George Floyd. As COVID vaccinations increase and Minnesota reopens, we hope to engage the community through public events such as Police Week, Open House, canine demonstrations, safety camps, and National Night Out. Our newly created Community Engagement Officer, Whitney Ranowski, will be instrumental in engaging the community through social interaction in order to create strong partnerships and trust while addressing quality of life concerns so neighborhood conditions might improve. I applaud the citizens of Hastings for their patience, respectfulness, and overwhelming support in 2020. Your support empowers our officers to go out every day and do great work under difficult circumstances. I could not be prouder of our department and their commitment to pride and service. Regardless of what 2021 brings, we vow to keep this community safe by responding to your needs and serving with honor.
Hello, I'm John Townsend, Fire Chief with the City of Hastings Fire Department. In 2020, we faced many challenges and opportunities for growth as an organization. During the year, we responded to 3,238 EMS calls and 448 fire calls. In response to the pandemic, our department made changes to our response model that included the use of paid-on-call duty staff on weekends, the use of paid-on-call staff responding to and staffing vehicles from the station, increasing the use of PPE on all calls, implementing more detailed decontamination procedures after calls, and reducing the number of staff on COVID-related calls. We work diligently as a team to stay current on CDC recommendations, manage PPE procurement, and protect our staff and community from the spread of COVID. During the pandemic, the department continued to work on a number of other projects, including the delivery of a remounted ambulance, a reduction of our fleet with the sale of Engine 1, and we received a very generous donation from Affinity Bank for the purchase of an inflatable boat. We hired 5 new paid-on-call firefighter EMTs in September. All have completed their EMT training and continue their firefighter training into 2021. This year, we continue to manage our response amidst the pandemic. We will be working on purchasing a new fire engine, upgrading our handheld radios, and replacing our air tank compressor. We will be saying goodbye and thank you to our Medical Director, Dr. Larry Erickson, who is retiring from his role after 40 years of serving our department and city. We will bring in new medical directors from Allina Health. We will also be filling the vacant Assistant Fire Chief position early this year. Also this year, we will undertake a study to look at staffing levels, response times, and the organization of our department. We will continue to evaluate our department in order to provide the best service to our community.
Hi, I'm Chris Jenkins, Director of the Hastings Parks and Recreation Department. 2020, enough said, right? It certainly was a challenging year for everyone, and the Parks and Recreation Department was no different. All of our Parks and Recreation staff encountered a wide range of challenges in their respective roles, and all of them figured out how to get the job done. I am proud of each and every one of them, and it is my pleasure to work with these fine folks every day. Although we were not able to open the Hastings Family Aquatic Center this season due to COVID, we did put together more than 100 activity bags for families. We delivered important and fun information for those kids learning how to swim, and we hope to see their smiling faces in 2021. Community programs at Levy Park were a little bit different this summer, but they were still awesome. We had to adapt for social distancing, limiting our attendance numbers, and taking precautions to ensure that everyone would be safe. These precautions included setting up sanitation stations at each event, separate microphones for performers, new signs, and more. I'd like to personally thank all of our residents and visitors who showed up at music in the park, performances in the park, movies in the park, and more. And I hope that everyone had a great time. Making sure these events happened was a top priority for our department, and our staff made every effort to make them a success. Throughout the season, as traditional events had to be canceled, the staff modified activities, including the alternative fall cleanup day and a DIY Parks and Trails cleanup. Many creative events were planned, including story walks every week with pages from popular books presented along the walking paths, a bingo game that included items to find in the parks, as well as a candy cane hunt in 6 city parks with clues and a word scramble. Our Paws in the Park and annual Halloween costume contest were both moved online. We had a virtual Birding Day festival, a live stream Make Music Day, and we put together virtual recreation resources for our residents. Thousands of people participated in these modified and virtual activities. Maintaining our parks and facilities always takes a great effort and requires a lot of dedication from our maintenance staff. Without the support of seasonal staff this summer, our 5 full-time employees hit the maintenance hard. We know that all of the usual stuff didn't get done or took longer than normal to accomplish, but it was not for lack of effort from our maintenance staff. Although we had to delay the start of our adult softball and volleyball seasons, we were fortunate enough to have plenty of folks that still wanted to play. We saw a bit of a condensed season, but a successful season nonetheless. Our staff appreciates all of the players who participate in our leagues and are happy to provide opportunities for some very good local competition. It is great to have the Hastings Civic Arena open for business again. It has been a bit of a bumpy ride since March, but our arena staff continue to work hard and deliver the best experience they can. More than anything, our staff enjoy having the building full of skaters and spectators and the excitement of games. We appreciate everyone's willingness to work with us and their continued dedication to skating and hockey. Our 2020 Trail Improvement Project was a great success, and the city is very fortunate to have Dakota County as a partner on the Mississippi River Regional Trail. This project had 2 segments that were fully reconstructed. One along General Sieben Drive between 15th Street and Highway 55, and the Mississippi River Regional Trail between the Lock and Dam and the Confluence development. Both sections were in dire need of reconstruction, and that wrapped up late in the fall. We hope trail users enjoy safer walks and a less bumpy bike ride on these 2 sections. The city continues to work towards improving our trail system. We know there is a lot of work ahead of us, and we remain committed to making progress. Finally, a very big thank you to everyone who participated in an event, rented a park or shelter, volunteered to help, played in a league, or simply got outside and used the parks and trails. We are all looking forward to a successful and fun 2021. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Public Works Director Nick Egger, and I'm here to highlight a few notable accomplishments from 2020 and to look ahead on a few major areas of our work in 2021. As Public Works continues its leadership in maintaining and improving our city's infrastructure into 2021, we will also be working with our partners at MnDOT on the reconstruction of Highway 316, which received critical funding in the state's bonding bill last fall. Led by MnDOT, this project includes the creation of 3 compact roundabouts, additional pedestrian safety elements like trail system extensions and enhanced crossings, and replacement of key utilities. Work on this transformative project is scheduled to begin in the late spring. In 2020, we began a 2-year process of fully reconstructing a significant portion of 15th Street. Last year's campaign included replacement of the street surface, curbing, sidewalk, and underground utilities between Pine Street and Tyler Street. We also modified the layout, narrowing the road a bit to make room for a boulevard between the sidewalk and the curb. Reconstruction along 15th Street will continue in 2021 as we tackle the section from Pleasant Drive to Pine Street with a similar project scope and set of changes. Our efforts to improve street surfaces didn't stop with 15th Street. Through our Mill and Overlay program, last year we were able to bring a refreshed surface to portions of South Frontage Road and North Ridge Drive. This coming summer, the program will move to portions of Westview Drive, Southview Drive, West 4th Street, and Old Mill Court. On the utilities side, last year we continued with the citywide water meter replacement program. As we head into 2021 and the program's 5th year, we've replaced about 2/3 of the nearly 7,800 water meters across the city. This program is on schedule to wrap up in 2023. Staying with water infrastructure, in 2020 we performed an intense mechanical inspection and rehabilitation on City Well Number 8. These efforts help ensure the well will continue to operate reliably and efficiently in its critical role of providing water supply for the city. 2020 also saw the completion of our water supply disinfection processes to a gas chlorine system. This system was chosen after extensive study, evaluation, public outreach, and recommendations from the Minnesota Department of Health, as well as third-party engineering and water resources experts. And it will help us maintain a safe drinking water supply from well to tap throughout the city at the most cost-effective level.
In closing, I hope you are as proud as I am of the collective work we have done as a city and a community. I truly look forward to a brighter 2021 and continuing to serve as your mayor. I encourage you to remain vigilant and hopeful as we continue with this pandemic. Please don't hesitate to contact staff, myself, or our city council members with the needs you have. Thank you, and this concludes our 2020 State of the City address.